And you don't seem to understand. A shame you seemed an honest man.
Hello everyone, and welcome to LostinTranslationmon, episode 5. This time we watched Layer 05, Distortion, and I still have a bit of a croaky voice, so I'm sorry about that. So Jay will just have to talk more in this episode.
There's nothing really to talk about, so I don't think I'll have to.
So, in previous episodes, just before we dive into the synopsis of Layer 05, we learned more about the Wired. We learned that there was this chip that was basically a processor that I think you could basically install into yourself to make it go better into the Wired.
I thought it was into the computer, that's why she had to open it up.
Oh, I misunderstood that then.
The one that was in yourself was the drug that was totally different and made you experience time differently.
Okay, I just combined those two. So, there's the drug called the Accelerator. Excel something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I understand why you're trying to do this recap, but the problem is I don't think the recap means anything. In this episode, nothing happened.
Okay, well, we'll just move on to synopsis then.
Okay.
Present day. Present time.
Okay, so it was Lain had some conversations with ghosts.
And God.
And maybe God. And those ghosts told her that prophecies were a thing and that they were important. That is all that happened with her.
And her doll.
And her doll. But that was part of the conversation with ghosts, because the doll was haunted. Whatever.
Maybe.
Then her sister, A, sees Lain standing in the middle of the street, being weird, and then later on is herself standing in the street being weird and is wandering around being attacked by the words fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah, and she's given these tissues, which you see a lot on streets in Japan, so it's not unusual. So then she bumps into this kid, and the kid says, "Hey, can I hit on you?"
But none of that means anything.
And then he drops the collar on her arm, and she goes to wipe it up with a tissue and opens it up, and it basically says some very menacing words.
It says, like, the underworld is overcrowded, the dead have no place to go, or something like that.
Yeah, it's very ominous.
It's all meaningless, is the point.
I think it's implied that these are meant to be the guys that we saw a couple of episodes ago standing outside Lane's house.
When they mentioned the knights?
Yeah, I think they're the knights, I think.
Okay, even so, it doesn't mean much. What's important, I guess, is that when she finally gets home and she seems all creeped out, she sees herself already at home, and then the herself that's already home remains, and the other one disappears, and Lain sees that one as the one that was otherwise being attacked as like a ghost.
Yeah.
And that was it. The only other things that happened are there was a failure in the traffic computer system and an automatic car killed somebody, and Lane's face has been showing up on computer screens, and people ask her if she did it, and she goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." And that's the whole episode.
And her high school friends think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, the thing is, not a lot happened this episode. It spent a lot of time of not much happening. There was some cool thematic things. My favourite part was when Lane's sister is in the bathroom and she says, "What's happening? What's going on?" I was like, yeah, I also am asking this.
That's not thematic. That's just, they're trying to do weird stuff over a period of time, and that's great. But, it says a lot when you looked up the Wikipedia episode summaries, and it's 2 lines, and every other episode is at least 4.
Yeah, it was about half as long as the other episode synopsis, because not a lot happened, and you can really summarize what happened in this episode quite quickly, because not a lot really happened.
Like, if you want a lesson in how much stuff you can tell an audience in 1 20-minute episodes, listen to our Atmon podcast we're about to record.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff just happened.
Yeah, which is good, it's good.
Present day. Present time.
So what are your opinions on this episode that we just watched?
Oh my god, it was so nonsense for nonsense's sake. Any information that was given in this episode, because of how little was addressed, could have been given last episode and not changed anything.
I feel like everything that happened this episode, I feel like they could have just put in basically a 5-minute thing that attached to any episode.
Absolutely.
I feel like they had elongated a lot of the scenes, and it was the same and I think I said this about the first episode, is that it sure was like 25 minutes, which could have been 5, and it was just, a lot of shots doing the exact same thing.
They sure said fulfill the prophecy more than once.
Like, well, that's just Digimon for you, I guess.
And you can argue that it's like, oh, okay, it's to make it seem really important. It already seemed important when it formed in someone's coffee. Like, we get it. It's really long-winded and unnecessary.
It's made to get the point across, right?
I guess.
But what I feel like this is that it was like maybe one chapter that they had to spread over one episode.
You mean more than one episode?
You
mean a chapter of the manga?
Yeah, I feel like this is one chapter of the manga.
In manga, chapters have lots of stuff happening.
Maybe even less than a chapter. It's a small chapter.
This is arguably like 3 pages.
It feels more like an Amaki-sized chapter.
Are they slightly longer?
No, omake.
Oh, you mean like, okay.
They're usually attached onto the end.
Of a volume, not a chapter.
Yeah, in the manga, in like if it's serialized in a magazine, it'll have the omake attached onto something
okay.
else. So do you have any other opinions? Because
No, that's it!
I was a little bit bored in this episode.
I was so bored. I was so looking forward to it being over. Yeah, I was so looking forward to it being over. When you moved the mouse and we saw how far the tracker had gone along, and it was like right near the start, I had honestly thought it had been only 5 minutes and I would die. But it was just because it was showing the entire runtime of the DVD and we were 17 minutes in and it was almost over.
Yeah.
I was upset that there might be more.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's more of Lain, and hopefully it gets better. But it's kind of like, I had a lot of hopes for this about episode 3. I think episode 3 was probably my favourite so far, because it actually started to have something happening in the series. And now it's just kind of slowed down to some random shots. And I guess it's setting the scene.
Now it's back to wheel spinning.
And there's still quite a lot of we're only halfway there or so.
They had a contract for 12 episodes and only plans for 5.
Well, fingers crossed.
Chorus.
Present day. Present time.
So any themes that you noticed besides prophecies? Because I think prophecies was the theme here.
Yeah, and obviously God. Literally Deus Ex Machina. God in the machine.
Well,
that was the whole point.
Doesn't the dad call it Deus?
He does.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then he says maybe it's a bad god or something. I don't know, so God and prophecies seems to be a theme in this episode.
Yep, and that's it.
It kind of hits you, and it's not just a subtle theme. Like, other episodes have had subtle themes. The theme being prophecies in this episode was not a subtle theme. It was an aggressively, like, I am punching you with this theme. It was aggressive.
Why are you punching my No, I am punching your salad! Why?
So, any similarities to Tamers? Because we haven't really spoken about that.
They mentioned that there's the real world and there's the other worlds called the wide. You're like, you know they wanted to say digital world.
You're like, well, I guess we can't.
It's probably trademarked or something. I don't want to talk about the show anymore.
Do you have any other predictions? Besides you not wanting to talk about
Nothing
the show?
changed. They added nothing. Yeah, stuff happened and we just recounted that, but if you took it out, nothing would change.
I mean, I have an additional thought.
Okay.
I think I might have, you know how I said last episode that because Lain is focused now and isn't hallucinating anymore, the animation style is better and we don't have that weird gaps? I think I might actually be wrong. I think it might just be they got a better budget. Because Lain was apparently hallucinating in this episode, and she was hallucinating speaking to ghosts and her doll and her parents who weren't there.
And it never did the star thing.
Yeah, and it didn't do like the ground becoming all weirdly coloured.
Oh man,
So-
that must suck.
That's really sad, because I was like all aboard that theory, because I feel like that could have made the show much better. I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
You're taking credit away from the show.
Yes, because she was hallucinating, but the animation style didn't go strange, which is annoying, because I kind of like that theory, and I don't know. I'm still ready to be proven wrong about this whole series, though. But it's kind of going back from the way it was setting itself up to be in episode 3. So please, Layer 06, please be better than this.
You'd hope so.
I guess we'll find out in a month.
Present day. Present time.
So next month we'll be watching Layer 06, which is called Kids.
Okay.
Because we all know that kids in Lain are terrifying.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Like, probably the most terrifying thing about Lain is how terrifyingly grown up and sexualized
Can I
and
hit on
sexual.
you?
The children are weird in this whole thing. I'm not sure if it's because of the Wired and the Wired makes you weird or something. I don't know.
Have you seen kids these days? Kids are crap.
Yeah, millennials.
I was crap.
I think we should actually retitle Layer 06 to Layer 06 Millennials. Gosh
Sure.
darn Millennials.
Except that it was the 90s still.
So you can find our link dump linked in the description, and you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube.
This is a struggle, isn't it?
It's a struggle with my throat. I'm so sorry, listener. So we also have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the Lain subreddit.
And also, we'd appreciate if you review us on
Thank
iTunes
you.
or Stitcher. We also have a website. You should go visit it. You can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description. For as little as $1 a month, Wick gets you access
Please
to our
don't judge
listener
I can't spell.
Slack chat group. But there are high levels with more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more. And thank you to our current Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast on the Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon. Stevie, who is Stevie Padamon on Tumblr, is currently taking commissions. Ruchins, Ruchinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Ruchinglong, Metal Mamemon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Chuckmon, Ishbal Bamba, Hiro Lado, who is at Hiro Lado on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who's Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Corey, Kyle, Delady Bugman, whose anime blog you can read at baguburagu.wordpress.com, Small Wolfie, who you can find on Tapastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic there called Eden of Melancholy, Tom, Glitchgoat, Azra McCool, Nicholas, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lisbeth, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ellivorg, who is Ellivorg on Tumblr, and Sporky McForkinspoon.
You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Airjamon. Make sure to let us know it's for the podcast, and I'm so sorry about my terrible voice.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry about this terrible show.
What, Lain? Lain, I believe, can redeem itself, okay?
Needs more punching Digimon.
Yeah, it does. We all need a bit more punching Digimon. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye.